Alright, we are back yet again on Fantasy Football in 5. Our last episode was our Week 6 Stardom Siddums. This episode will be Week 7.
So if you haven't heard about our channel, hit the big red button below. Alright, so a couple of starts at the quarterback position for Week 7 include Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, and Jameis Winston.
Now Winston, he plays the 49ers, and that team altogether is pitiful, and so is their defense, so just start him.
For sits, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, and Carson Wentz.
Now Aaron Rodgers, he's surprising, but mainly because he's going up against a Bears defense who's kind of retooled, and he has not looked very good recently. So we say just start or sit him this week and just see what happens.
It's more of a precautionary too because he hasn't played well. Eddie Lacy and Randall Cobb are both gone.
Yeah.
So all he has is Jordy Nelson.
These are a few starts this week at running back. We have Matt Forte, James White, and DeMarco Murray.
Now, James White has been really playing well since Tom Brady has come back, scoring multiple touchdowns last week. So keep on starting him against the kind of depleted Steelers team.
And then for a few sits this week, we have Mark Ingram, Jay Ajayi, and Ryan Matthews.
Now, you might be wondering why Jay Ajayi is a sit this week after having a career week against the Steelers.
I'm seeing a
last
trend.
week. Shut up. But he plays a tough Bills team that's really been playing well on defense. Rob Ryan has him tooled to exactly what he wants, so sit Jay Ajayi. Alright, so some starts at wide receivers. We have Brandon Marshall, Mike Evans, Julian Edelman, and Stephon Diggs.
Now, Stephon Diggs, he's coming back after an injury, and so we say to just put him right back into that starting lineup. We expect him to have a pretty good game against the Eagles team that I think they're going to exploit some holes on.
Some sits. We have DeAndre Hopkins, Golden Tate, Jordan Matthews, and Allen Hurns.
Now, DeAndre Hopkins might surprise some people, but mainly because that, yes, they scored 17 unanswered points last week.
Like, it was against Indy, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that team was not good. They have like 5 whole defensive backs on their whole roster. So, let's be real. Don't start him this week.
Plus, he plays Denver, tough team to play against.
Alright, a few starts at the tight end position here. We have Kyle Rudolph, Delaney Walker, and Dennis Pitta.
Now, Dennis Pitta is the tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, alright?
That is very true.
He's going up against kind of a weak New York Jets team. Joe Flacco may or may not play. He's questionable, but I still say start Dennis Pitta.
And then a few sits at the tight end spot. We have Gary Barnidge, Zach Ertz, and Eric Ebron.
Now, following the Philadelphia Eagles trying to sit players, Zach Ertz just falls right into that category. The Vikings have been tough against the tight ends too, so sit him. Alright, so moving to the defenses, some starts. The Denver Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Now, the Baltimore Ravens, they play a New York Jet team that is lacking a quarterback right now. Geno Smith is not a real quarterback, let's be real, guys. So start the Ravens defense.
Some sits, the Texans, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville.
Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are trash all around. No, alright, but their defense really is pretty bad. The last week they got tore up by a Miami offense that really is not very good. So sit them. Now to the most important position in football, and the fact that they have so many things in the storylines right now.
Yeah.
Kickers! Alright, we have, to start, we have Adam Vinatieri, Josh Lambo, and Dan Carpenter.
Now, Josh Lambo has been a pleasant surprise this year in fantasy. He had like 3 or 4 field goals against the Denver Broncos when they had their matchup and they won. And I expect him to keep on kicking very well against the Falcons this week.
Alright, now for sits, we have Josh Brown, my boy. And then we have Chris Boswell and Nick Folk.
Now, if you haven't heard, Josh Brown is under another league investigation about his domestic abuse towards his wife.
Just leave it in the bedroom, guys. Come on.
So, don't start him.
Alright, a few players that you want to add to your roster this week. We have Dion Lewis, Tyler Eifert, and Mike Gillislee at running back.
Now, Dion Lewis and Tyler Eifert are both coming back from injuries. If not this week, then next week. Eifert sooner than Lewis, but these guys have tremendous fantasy value once they come back, so you might want to consider picking them up in your league.
And then a few players that you want to drop in your league. We have Eddie Lacy, Jeremy Langford, and Josh Brown.
Moving on from Josh Brown, we have Eddie Lacy, who just went in the IR for the Packers. Bad news for their offense. Darn. But Jeremy Langford also, you should drop him because
Jordan Howard's the real deal, like I called it in the preseason.
So yeah, drop Langford. That was Fantasy Football in 5. Thank you for watching. We deliver all your fantasy news in 5 minutes or less because, but honestly, who wants to watch a 30-minute video on this topic?
Amen.
So this is our Week 7 starting to sit him. Next week will obviously be Week 8.
Now, our fantasy team this week, we lost yet again, but we faced the number one team in our league, so...
We gave him a real run for his money, so we hope for a win next week.